Eric, you took the captain's chair.
I did. They let me play with the machines on this one.
Do you now have to wash dishes for the next 5 years for everybody?
No, like I said, they let me out of that too. They let me produce a record, and I don't have to do my chores for the next 2 years. Yeah.
Just explain, how was the decision? I mean, you did not only produce the whole thing, you mixed it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I mean, we had actually kind of talked about it throughout the writing process, that it was possible for me to produce it, and it just felt like the right thing to do at the right time. I had a scope of what I knew the songs wanted to be and how I knew this record wanted to sound, and it was actually it was a lot of hard work, and it was mentally taxing. But as far as being easy to do, working with my friends and my brothers, that part was a joy, and it was a lot of fun. It never really felt like work.
How was it for you guys? Was there a point, or was there never a discussion about let him do all that?
I think that we just had arrived in a place in our career where we had a lot of really good teachers in past records, and engineers, production assistants, different studios, male and female. And he had already produced certain tracks. He had already produced Cut the Cord, he did Diamond Eyes. We worked on a movie with Johnny Depp, an Alice in Wonderland, which I believe it was called Through the Looking Glass. We did a song for that soundtrack called Her Name is Alice, which he did. We did a song called I'm Alive for the very first Avengers movie for that soundtrack as well. But the reality was we had arrived in a place where I knew for a fact that no other producer would be able to do it and make it sound, this particular album, the way that it needed to sound, because I think that some of these individuals had been predisposed, and it turns into, he's got a pretty open mind about this, but sometimes it can turn into like band in a can, especially when the same mixers are doing the same bands over and over again, and it just kind of gets really stale. He made a good point too when we were making the album as well. It's like, for him, he would rather go crazy making it himself instead of watching someone else, you know, go crazy trying to make it. And he's just sitting, you know, behind them going, that's not, no, that's wrong. Because he never walked into the studio on any given day, and he was never confused. Like, he knew exactly what he wanted to do and what needed to be done that day. He's a great leader on a lot of different levels, especially because it is a big job when not only you're the producer, but you're also in the band, and you're also going to mix the album as well. But I think he presented the world a masterpiece, to be honest with you. Thanks. I think he also produced a record that needed to be heard, and the world, I feel like this record is necessary.
I agree. Were there moments where you've heard from the guys like, hey, remember what we did to that producer when he said that?
No. You know, I had a conversation with them before we started, and I said, you know, I'm gonna have to ask you guys to do certain things. I'm gonna have to ask you to dig a little deeper and maybe play something again, or no, that wasn't right, do it again. And they have to understand that that's not me questioning their ability as musicians, or you know, at that point I have to turn off the band member thing and I have to turn on the producer thing. And I just really wanted them to know how much respect I have for them prior to going into the studio, and that
and vice versa, because we had the same respect for him.
Yeah. So you know, we have a great band relationship. We here we are. You know, I mean, the band's been around since 2001, and we all still ride the same bus together. We all still hang out together. We all still eat lunch together. We really have a genuine love for each other and a caring for each other. So there was never really any detrimental tension. I mean, there were moments of, like you're going to have with any record, whether I was producing it or not, you're going to have moments of tension and disagreement, but there was never any real problems at all.
And also, past couple of years, like most in the band got kids, families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
did that play into it?
Well, I mean, that just plays into our overall relationship. I mean, our guitar player Zach, his wife had their second baby boy yesterday. So
Congratulations.
we're just very in tune with each other, and we have a very genuine love and caring for each other. So I think you can hear that in the record as well.
Well, it's a concept record, and let's say the overall message is don't lose your human side, kind of. Am I right there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna take different points of view when you listen to the album. The fact of the matter is it's not a quintessential concept record. It's more of a story album. But the whole record is about understanding that you don't need to be afraid to fail in anything. Like, I think that if you put yourself into a corner mentally, physically, and even psychologically because you want to achieve something that maybe might be out of your comfort zone or outside of your box because you've never attempted to go after it, that you would say, well, I've never done it before, so why could I do it now? Well, you know what? Anything that you do the first time, you may not be good at it. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that you need to just completely stop and give up. I think a lot of people, because there's so many opinions out in the world today, and technology is a great thing. It's a great tool. But when everybody has an opinion and they get fixated in looking at that smartphone and staying connected to it all the time, and they lose their human side, as you were saying. Like what the three of us are doing right now is becoming a lost art, just having a conversation in front of someone. And like, that's what I don't want people to lose. I don't want people to lose that integrity, to look somebody in the eye and be honest with them and be, real. And for me and for Eric and for Zach and for Barry, like you said, we still ride the same bus, we still go to lunch, we go to dinner together. We're with each other more than we're with our families, like in our hometowns and what have you. But the record as a whole is just, it's totally fine to fail. You're gonna fail. Don't be afraid of that, because eventually the more you work at it, you will find those moments that are very, very key to yourself and to your surroundings, and you'll win a lot more than you fall.
Gee, my boy is 3 now. We talk a lot about failure. It's like
it's the best teacher. And this record is the story of how we, as human beings, meaning our band, we're just telling the story of how we did. We fell down, we failed, and we built ourselves back up again, and we helped each other do that. And God knows that in the condition we were in, if anybody else can do it. If we can do it, then anybody else can do it, and that's, we just had to put that out there, and we had to put it down on. It was something we needed to do, to tell that, to kind of tell the world that story.
You had your ups and downs, but you're so tight as a band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are, and that's because it goes back to what we said 5 minutes ago. We care about each other, and it's a fundamental part of who we are. And
another thing too is we do look at it like a marriage. Nobody goes to bed angry. Like if there's an issue or there's a problem, because we know one another so well, we're pretty good at respectfully bringing up whatever the topic is or the issue if there's like an unresolved, part of the day. Because at the end of the day, what we do on stage with each other, that all is... He's always had a cool way of saying this, like, individually, we might not be that interesting, but when you put the four of us together and you put us up there, there's something kind of almost Shakespearean that happens. There's something very unique that happens that only the four of us can do. And I think that the reason why the audience looks to us the way that they do is because they know that we're not phoning anything in, and they know that we're being 100% authentic and we're being honest with them. And, you can't ever lose sight of that. You're gonna have ups and downs. That's called life. You know what I mean? But it really is with us. It's a judgment-free zone. I've had a lot of low points where none of these guys have ever been, have come to me and pushed me down even further psychologically or made me feel inferior. All they've ever done is help me back up when I fell.
MULATSCHAG.
I don't cuss on stage because I've got a stronger vocabulary in my mind. I don't need to call an audience motherfuckers. I don't think it's respectful. That's just me. You know, I think that
can you imagine like any other artist, like in any other like a painter or an actor looking at their fans and going, well, y'all are a bunch of motherfuckers. I mean, how ridiculous is that, right?
Yeah.
It's very disrespectful. I don't, you know, and I'm maybe speaking for him a little bit here, but we have too much respect for the audience. We curse like crazy off stage, you know, but when you get on stage, we are trying to deliver a positive message through our music and through rock and roll and through having fun, you know, and they're gonna look, especially at festivals too. That the crowds are gonna hear motherfucker this and motherfucker that all day long. So it's nice to kind of get up for us. We like to get up there and just there are other ways to communicate with people, you know.
And I'm not doing it to be, you know, act as if like I'm better than other artists or better frontmen. That's the complete opposite. Because I come from a metal background, you know what I mean? And I come from a very, very, you know, I'm rock and roll to the bone. So is Eric, you know? But I think for me, like, there's certain cats that can do it, male and female, that like, and when they do it, it's kind of like a badge of honor in a way, and they do it in a very, well, quite frankly, just a very authentic.
When Ozzy is doing it.
Or when Corey Taylor's up there, man, if he's rolling, you know, if he's with Stone Sour or he's with Slipknot, there's something endearing about the way that he does it. I mean, their audience, their fan base.
He does it with love.
Yeah, their audience. Yeah, their audience and their fan base, they call them maggots, you know. And I know that's a different thing, you know what I mean? And there was a point with me where I was just like, this isn't who we are. There's no reason to. I just stopped, you know.
When you put out new songs and then you go on the road, you do your regular touring stuff, you know.
Yeah.
How does it change when you put on the new songs? When you first play, let's say, you know, a new song, you know, like.
We just finally got the finale song on Attention, Attention, Brilliant right the other night.
Yeah, it's actually hanging on for dear life sometimes, you know. You're like, because you're gonna have to do it at some point, and there's no amount of rehearsal that's gonna prepare you to play a new song live. And what makes it really interesting is that all of the other songs you've been playing for years are just muscle memory at this point, and they're so automatic. Yeah. And you don't have to think about them, and all of a sudden you have to think about every single thing you're doing. And there's a bit of a I won't say fear, but there's a bit of a hurdle to jump over when you launch into a new song for the first time. We launched. It's
like eating chocolate cake for the first time. The first time you play a new song.
Here's what happened the other night. We were getting ready to play Brilliant for the first time ever, and we built it up. We told the audience this is the first time we've ever played this live. And we started into it and played it completely wrong. And we stopped. And we stopped. And I'm like, let's do that again. And we did. And we started it again. And we got it right. But that's just, you know, you're a professional band. But guess what? We're not, we're not cardio surgeons, you know? We're not flying an airplane. So it's okay to fall on your face every once in a while. So, and we're human, and we don't mind showing that. I mean, we're very honest with our audience, and that was a very honest moment, you know, where it's like, we just messed that up. Let's start again. And, but, you know, once you start doing it every night, and I know that on the next tour we're doing in the States, we're gonna play quite a bit of songs off of the new record, more than we have been. And by the end of that month and a half, we'll be good to go.
MULATSCHAG.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Brent.
I'm Eric, and we are the band SHINEDOWN, and you are watching MULATSCHAG.
The only TV you need.